Hey guys, how's it going? Comparing here. So recently I've been playing some Arena and I've been seeing some things that don't really follow my predictions. Now originally I said that, Mage would be still the king, and then under that we'd have Warlock and Priest. Well, Priest is doing very well. Warlock, from what I've seen, isn't doing spectacular. Mage is still up there, but above all these classes, now the most frequent class that I see and I'm up against at high number of wins in Arena is Paladin. And I think this is, while not too scientific, a pretty good understanding of how things are working, how players are basically adapting and running decks in Arena. And I looked into it a little bit, and yeah, I've had a lot of luck with Paladin as well, and I'm going to tell you guys why I think it's actually a lot better than it seems, at least a lot better than it seemed to me. I'm going to go over a few of the cards and how they interact with players in Arena, because Arena is always the type of game where you go card for card, you try to really aggressively take board control, and you very rarely go face. But usually in the first number of wins in Arena, a lot of people like to go face. So what happens is you kind of got to build a deck that's good enough to pass through these noobs, to pass through the face jungle, and end up in the control meta. So you have to be good enough to beat the Zergies, you have to be good enough to beat the control decks. And it seems that Paladin can do that pretty well, largely because they can manipulate their hero power, which is, spawn a 1-1. If you're up against an aggressive deck, well, you just don't use that. And if you're up against a control deck, you use that as much as possible. And the 1-1 hero power is actually, if your opponent decides to deal with every single 1-1 that you spawn, it is the strongest hero power in the game. Because it basically absorbs 1 damage, but usually when it does so, it deals 1 damage back. And you can manipulate this further through other cards, buffs, and, cult masters, whatever. If you really think about it, if you're a paladin and you're playing against a priest, let's say he has board control and he's attacking into you, even if that's the case, whenever he's killing off your 1-1 with like his 2-3 river croc or something like that, every single turn, you're absorbing 2 damage, you're dealing 1 to his river croc, and he's healing it. So you really have to look at the value in the hero power. Yes, he's nullifying it with his own hero power, but he needs a creature on the board, he needs board control. You're basically healing yourself for 2, because otherwise that creature would hit you for 2. So, in many situations, in fact, in just about all of them, not quite all of them, but in just about all of them, the Paladin hero power is the most flexible and the most powerful in these drawn-out games. And GVG has introduced this kind of idea where there's a lot of sticky minions, there's a lot of stuff like piloted traders, more death-rattled garbage like that, and the games in general have slowed down a little bit, but they haven't really slowed down in terms of board development. They've slowed down because people don't just rush face that much anymore. But the aspect of board control is more aggressive than ever. And Paladin got a really big tool. A lot of people credit Shielded Minibot to the recent success of Paladin in Arena. And while this is an amazing 2-drop, I feel like it doesn't really carry that hard. For it to really gain value, your opponent needs to have 2 health creatures that it trades with in succession. And this is fairly rarely the case, but it does set up a wall. So for instance, if you're up against the mage, he has a 3-2 creature. This is basically going to trade for that, and he's going to have to hero power this as well. So it's pretty good. It's you really have to consider that this 2-drop actually trades evenly or above on every other 2-drop in the game. There's no 2-drop that kills this and survives in the end. So this technically 1-for-1 is actually the best 2-drop in the game, if you really think about it in that fashion. For instance, even like the 4-4, like the Millhouse Mana Storm, it's a 4-4 that basically kills all the 3-2s, all the 2-3s, but it doesn't kill this one. So it is very solid in that, and it gives Paladin basically an edge in the early game, not necessarily card for card, but to be able to gain board control early, which is so important for Paladin. Paladin's also got a few extra weapons. They got the Cog Hammer. While it's an epic in Arena, you don't see it too often. Just because weapons are so important for board control, and Paladins have heals, that kind of stuff anyway, it's not that big of a difference to take a lot of damage to gain board control, and the Cog Hammer is a very good tool for that. If it's marginal, If you have some kind of creature that you can pop Divine Shield on, the Cog Hammer is ridiculous. And if you don't, it's acceptably good. I mean, it's an epic. Now, it's just another good thing that Paladin got, and it is very relevant in Arena. But the main aspect, from what I understand in Arena, actually comes from 3 tiers. The first is you can get Explosive Sheeps. Now, it used to be that if you played Paladin, if you had all the tools, but you didn't have Consecrate, it'd be very difficult to actually beat the Zooey decks. It'd be very difficult to beat Warlock. It'd be very difficult to beat other Paladins. It'd be very difficult to beat Shaman. So it's very important to have some kind of Consecrate. And on a similar end, that's why Coghammer kind of fills in the point if you don't get a True Silver. Similar idea. There's a lot of tools that you needed as a Paladin. And the Explosive Sheep kind of fills the Consecrate role. Yeah, it's not exactly Consecrate. It does kill your own crap as well. But the ability to reset the board is very, very important for Paladin, because if you make it to the late game to where both players are drawing 1 card, your hero power at that stage really becomes dominant. I mean, people consider the Shaman hero power very good in the late game. The Paladin hero power actually beats the Shaman hero power most of the time, unless the Healing Totem is supporting an overwhelmingly strong board. But in general, that's the case. So the fact that they have a lot more board clears makes it so you can more consistently draft a good deck, and that's very important in Arena. The second aspect is the Muster for Battle. This is basically the best Paladin card. The best rare used to be the Peacekeeper, but now it's Muster for Battle. Muster for Battle gives you a little weapon, all little dudes, and basically when it comes to trading for other 3 drops, again, nothing really kills it. What you can do, if you get a bad hand, you can actually just dude on turn 2, I mean, you can get a 1/1 recruit, and then you can follow up with Muster for Battle and usually kill their 3/2 creature, basically finish it off. So it's not only like the best turn 3 play, it actually is the best turn 3 play that makes your turn 2 irrelevant in some cases. You don't actually need a 2-drop. So again, if you don't draft many 2-drops, but you get a Muster for Battle or 2, it makes it so you can actually overcome that disadvantage. Again, making it easier to build very well-rounded decks without having too many specific cards anymore, which certainly used to be the case with Paladin. And the third is the Quartermaster. And the Quartermaster is a card I played in Constructed a bit. I was pretty happy with it. I didn't like it that much when I had 2, because often it'd be a dead card and I was very behind on the board. Some people are running two Quartermasters in Constructed. It's a very powerful card. Certainly when combined with Muster for Battle, you can just flood the board like crazy. Like a turn 10 play, you can Muster for Battle, dude, and Quartermaster, and suddenly you're in an insane position. The tempo is ridiculous, the board control is ridiculous, you have a weapon, you have it all basically. In Arena, a lot of the times that you'd lose as a Paladin was when your opponent would just go face and you couldn't keep up. Basically, your 1/1 recruits, they're much stronger in terms of value when your opponent attacks them than when you attack with them. Now, this can change if you have combinations of cards like, Dire Wolves or something like that to buff their attack, that kind of stuff. But in the general hero power, if your opponent is basically forced into board control and you're forced into killing off every single 1/1 that you play, which is now the case because of the threat of Quartermaster and because these games are slowed down, it makes it so the games are much more drawn out, and because they're much more drawn out, your ability to pump out 1/1 units throughout the game is so powerful. And this card alone, the threat of the Quartermaster, I understand it's an epic, I understand it's probably in 1 in 3, maybe 1 in 4 Paladin Arena decks. It makes it so you can basically force your opponent to play the game your way. And because of that, I feel the Paladins can really make work out of the control decks. And there's a little bit of the other factors that I can't go into too much detail because I'm still kind of figuring it out, but it seems like because Priest has been buffed considerably and Priest was the counter to Mage, Priest does a very good job of taking out the pesky mages from the top end of the Arena bracket, and as it turns out, Paladin, especially now because of all the buffs, all the recent threats that they've now gained, Paladin does the best job of clearing out Priest. So it's kind of like, you know, a wheel shift where, you know, priests and paladins seem pretty strong, but, you know, paladins beat the priests, mages beat the paladins a lot of the time, but, you know, with things like muster for battle, your dudes can get pretty out of control. So I want to show you guys today a draft and one of the more interesting games of one of my Paladin runs recently. It was a very successful one, but the deck was a piece of crap. I really had basically nothing. You guys will see the drafting process right after I finish talking here, and you guys will see, yeah, I got pretty lucky perhaps in the match that you guys are going to end up watching, but still, I mean, with not too many good cards, you can make it very well with Paladin. A lot of people were describing that, you know, they were getting basically 6-7 wins with just any Paladin deck. And it's a result of this, you know, everything just got a little bit better to the point where it's very accessible. And that's why, for instance, in the past, Mage was a very strong class. They would get, you know, very easy board clears, very easy removal, very easy powerful creatures like War Elemental, something like that. Well, it's not as direct with Paladin, but it does seem to be heading in that direction, and things are going really well for Mr. Uther in Arena. So don't neglect the Paladin when it's among the options. Maybe it's a better pick than Mage even, and well, enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, serve me up some fucking muster for battles, please. Let's go Bomberino. Let's go Stormpike. Archer Protector or Force Tank. Alright, go Archer Protector, but I really like Force Tank. Black Knight, Toshli, or the Beast. Black Knight it is. Consecrate. Noble Sack out of those 3 abominations. I don't have many cards worth healing, so we'll go with Hammer. Raptor's pretty good. Equality, huh? Oh, I have Equality Wailing Soul combo. Okay. Let's take some high health creatures then. Frostwolf, Mech Warper. I have no mechs and no mech synergy, so let's just go with Razorfin Hunter. Okay, Harvest Golem. Tall Strider for a good 4. Good mech. Let's go with Quartermaster, I guess. Haven't been able to use him in Arena yet. I think he's pretty good. I have no weapons for the Smith yet, so we'll just go with the Ooze. Pint-sized. Let's go Spectral Knight again. Shattered Sun's good. We'll go with a Murloc. We'll go with the Hammer again. Stormwind Champion. Let's go Amani. Consecrate 2. Consecrate 3. Silverhand Knight. Let's go Sky Golem. A lot of good cards in this deck, but no weapons of any kind. No True Silvers or anything. No Peacekeepers. Yeah. Some really good, some really bad. I think overall it's a pretty average deck. No Magma Rager either, that's true. Shaman's a decent match for me. I actually haven't played like a single mage of this deck. I have no 3-drops, so keeping Harvest Golem is a must. Apparently I have 3 drops. Guess that's all I have now. Out of my losses, one of them's been Shaman. It's not a free win at all. want a shredder. Just limit his options if he has a flame tongue. Damn. It's pretty small here, but I think that's the best play. Push for board. It's a good one. It's good enough that you can't ignore it. So dumb. Bombers have been so cruel to me. Fire Elemental is like a blowout here. Yeah. Oh, I guess I lose. But I get footy. Thank you. Ooh, a Sky Golem. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice target to Hex, too. Here comes a Hex. Oh, no Hex. Oh. Let me roll 8.
I've got a huge gun. Reporting for duty. Ogre time. To battle!
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Reporting for duty.
Quality, 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 quality. We can still draw quality.
To battle! Reporting for duty.
Nice top deck.
Never heard of it. What's top deck? I can destroy him if I get a Stormwind champion. Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty close.
To battle! Reporting for duty.
Push forward.
Misplay Hammer of Wrath. It was a misplay if I was all in on the equality, but I wasn't really. I could have survived another turn. So in some sense, I played it safe if I didn't draw it. But I did draw it, so it didn't look as good. You're right. might still lose. That's true. Interesting.
The battle. Reporting for duty.
If he has a Deathwing, I demand a top deck Hammer of Wrath.
Mind if I roll need? We must cleanse the Sunwell.
12 wins, baby! Yeah. How about that? I never would have guessed this deck would get 12 wins. Holy shit, dude. Never would have guessed it. What do we get? Big gold, small gold, big gold, paccaroni, medium gold. Well, that adds up to a fuckload of gold. It's like 500, right? 365, 395, 480. Not bad. Well, that's kind of crappy. Still though, what a run.